Hello everyone, my name is Seichi and welcome for this first Ironmouse illustration, Speedpaint that I did on Clip Studio Paint, and thank you so much for being here. First of all, my name is Seichi, and if you're new on this channel, well, welcome. This is like my first video that I uploaded here, and I do plan to upload do more of like this kind of content. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. So this is a commentary of the illustration that I did, fan art for Ironmouse, and this is one of her Underworld Goddess that she wore, or she debuted last, I think it was back on November, and she showed this on her stream. So at that time I tried to make a fan art of this specific design, but unfortunately it took a bit too long. There's like a lot of stuff been happening in the background, or some personal things that happened, but I still managed to finish it, even though after all of those stuff that happened. So yeah, so for this video, this will be like a raw commentary of the thoughts of how I did this illustration. So if you're drawing something in the background or just chilling or everything, come on. I'm going to share my progress, my thoughts and progress of how I made this piece. So yeah, so as you can see in the on the illustration, that I start applying the colors at the first part of the illustration. I started laying out like the foreground, midground, background, because like just the setting up with all the layers. And at this part, you can see now I'm just spending my time trying to doing the background, because I do feel like the whole background can influence the character in the middle, because like how the lighting will affect the figure or Iron Mouse herself. So I started like just like setting things up, especially like that whole lighting in her backside. So it's a way just to establish the lighting for the illustration. Now after establishing that, I've started with the mapping of the layering I did. I started now applying the basic colors for Iron Mouse. I start with something bit of with a cool light tone with a bit of like some warm-ish, like you can see on her skin. And the one thing that you can see that I'm going to change later is her skin. I kind of make it a bit more saturated, just kind of it's not like the right color. So later you're going to see me, I'm going to tone it down, but as you can see, I'm just trying to bounce around, play with the lighting and seeing like what works and not. Then of course I started playing around with the hair, going back with the skin again, finishing doing it to the eye, and yeah, trying to render it like this stuff. And it's my goal for here in this painting, not only to just to make this fan art, but the other goal that I also like want to do in this painting is to figure out like how I could find my process in art style of coloring, because like I have like a bit of a problem trying to have a consistent art style. So not only art style, like coloring style as well. So I'm just like figuring out. And as you can see at this point, I kind of make the skin a bit more in a cool tone, and yeah, like just to match like the original design for the skin tone, I mean. And I merge the layer for the line art and for the coloring layers, so I could like maybe go do overpainted. And I could, as you can see in some part, I would re-add one of those lines above it on the part of the overpaint itself. So as you can see, I'm just spending my time trying to smudge on the edges from the skin, and you can see like going a bit down to the clothes, playing with those soft edges and hard edges around the painting. Yeah, and I'm testing, of course, like testing out like some edges for my for the painting. And you can practice a really good video that you could practice your edges is a good video from Cynics, one of his digital painting course, not the painting course, like digital something video brushstroke. It's a really good video. I really recommend you check it out, because like most of my how I paint stuff is very influenced with Cynic's, how he paints, how he paints, even though like he uses like a different program. I would say his way of painting can be actually replicated with other stuff, as long as like you could practice those soft edges and hard edges. So yeah, and I'm starting here to add some deeper shadows, like one of the core shadows, and they're using like the airbrush tool with the multiplier. So it's just some dabbing some light there and everything. And I'm starting here to paint one of the, I think that's like an insect. If there's like a 3D model of Ironmouse that has like this bug like right behind. I don't know if that's like a canon design, or that's just like, or that is it. I just like look at that 3D model like, oh, it's look like it's one of those spider legs, so maybe I could just paint it like how they look like, but I didn't add like one of those like fur thingies. So yeah, I'm bouncing back from the leg and refining a bit more on the clothes, making sure that they look right and well, especially like the foldings on the lower part, and bouncing back from a bit of the upper part. And as you can see now, I'm now trying to go back with the face. Instead of like I was trying to do like a very realistic way of painting faces, I just thought of like, hey, maybe this could be like a good idea. Just try to make it a bit more stylized, like, you know, like how anime faces are, like they're just like very flat. I mean, there are like some scenes they have it like they have like planes that are shadow, but for this one I tried just to make it flat, and for some reason it did look well. Same goes with the eyes. Like the eyes, I add like one of those makeups that Ironmouse has, so I added that. So I tried to refine a bit of more on those eye parts, and trying to make it very clear and same as one of the models, same as the model, how it's colored out and way out. So yeah. And yeah, I've almost forgot like adding that heart shape thingy under her, on the lower part, so near the pelvis area. So just to re-add that, I think like that's like one of the maybe important elements of what makes like Ironmouse particular for design. So in the arm part, I kind of struggle a bit, because like I was like having a hard time trying to understand like how the design for the arm works, and I'm still like figuring out like what is like the red thing. I don't like, just maybe Ironmouse like did explain what are those, what does it mean in her debut, but I just like painting how I see like on the how other artists does it, because like different artists like have like different interpretations how they done it. So yeah, and but for the hands, like it's very quite easy to replicate. There are like some loopy loops or like roundy, like that wraps around the fingers, and the finger has like one of those like sharp, like the sharp claw like fingerlings. So yeah, so I kind of stopped, take a pause with the arm. I think at that time I was figuring out, so I was trying to do like one of like the more bigger pieces of the painting. I started like coloring in the background, in the back of her hair, I mean. So see, I'll just trying to lay out like those shapes, trying to make it like look nice, and did like I put some atmosphere, atmospheric like depth on her hair. I just trying to separate like the silhouette of her yeah, of her body from the band of hair. So at least when you turn that off with the black and white, it's still very visible and you can separate that. So I'm still here like trying to do separating the shapes for the hair part, trying to trying to like the very nice appealing shape by applying like the big, medium, small design elements. It's a really good thing to have when you design stuff. I think that also like applies in illustration as well. So I try to apply that there. Yeah, trying to refine like more of the stuff there, making it clean. You know. So yeah, it started like from the background, back of her head, making like one of those like individual strokes for the hair strands. Oh yeah, that too. Like instead of like going into like individual hair strands, because like I guess like it looks very much more chaotic. So I just tried to clump them up into like a big into a shape instead. So I don't I just thought like that makes kind of bit cooler, especially for the clouds. Like like the clouds don't usually aren't that very thick, or like like they're like clumped up into shapes, but I just like this is like a very like stylized approach, how I approach like the clouds, just making them like a very hard thick clouds. I don't know how to describe it, but they look cool in some way. It's like the Kingdom Cloud from what Goku rides, just like the very circly thing. So, yeah. But of course, like there's some clouds in the background. Like I try to, like they just fade away in the background, and there are some clouds here just are very thick as heck. So yeah. So I'm now in the hair part, still doing like the hair strands thingy on Ironmouse hair. I'm doing on the forehead part, and yeah, just trying to make them more clear and very visible. Oh yeah, this part of the hand, of the forearm. I mean, still try to dip in back into it, trying to I guess like while just like painting the hair shambles, like trying to think like how the heck I'm gonna make this arm look understandable. So well, I just like keep on bouncing back on the reference, trying to understand like what the heck they look like, or trying to understand like what is even this. But it's been like the how I envisioned it to look in the beginning, like usually like originally like the there's a hard light coming from above, but now looks like there's like a very soft light instead. So I think that's actually blends a bit more well than doing the very hard light. So that's it's gonna make things a bit more good. So I guess like somewhere in the painting things can actually change much. So I think that's a good thing to establish. So yeah. So I'm coming back from the arm on the left, on the right part. Just trying to make the elbow look very shiny. Still wondering like what's that even is, but I don't know. It's what it is. So after a bit some polishing for the for Ironmouse, I try to come back doing the clouds again. Maybe just take a break. Painting clouds, it's actually very calming. Something about painting those shapes on the cloud is it's very relaxing. Just like trying to make some edges, hard and soft edges and everything. So going from the foreground, then going from the background, and also like trying to make them like a very clear shape by erasing some of the parts. So as you can see here, I disable the layer for the atmospheric perspective, like the white thingy, just for a bit, and turn back on, because like I just want to make sure that whatever's in the front is understood and understandable. So yeah, and I put some multiply effect on the cloud in the front, trying to just trying to add some like depth, like oh, this cloud is like in the front, Viginite or Viginite, I don't know, this is something like that terms. So yeah, and now just focusing now on the smaller details around the painting, just mini clouds and just like mini particles. Yeah, because I already work on like on the big picture, on the bigger elements. Now I can work on the smaller ones. So yeah, now adding some extra lightings and everything, and yeah, there we go.